Hi, good evening. This is working so far, and I started filming it, and then I stopped because not everything was in its place, and I'm tired of the weird things going on lately, especially this week. Oh God. Okay, this is working so far, and I don't know will it interrupt me, so I better get started. And if it does, I'm sorry, but I've had major issues with technology, especially Windows and Microsoft lately. Uh, it's been horrible, and I had electricity issues again. I almost got electrocuted like this week. I was washing my hair, and the water started being electrified, and it started, it was bringing electricity in while I was washing my hair. So yeah, after fourth attempt of Illuminati to recruit me. It was fourth time that I got messages in my inbox and email, and I refused them, and I really got to do something about it. I need to make a public statement or something because I have this decree, and they're not actually allowed to do that. So yeah, and it's always the same person. I've noticed it's the same person. Keeps changing accounts, but it's the same person. So that happened like a little bit after. I'm having weird energy going through. And I also found out that one of my closest relatives is working since recently for Microsoft. And that's like one of my very close relatives. And I'm like speaking about the things that you are not aware of, you know? Anyways, I was looking for this friend because it kind of got hidden somewhere, and I was sitting on it like a mother hen. So I didn't want to start my video without it, and I started it with this not so got good information, but I had to say this because I'm tired of it. I wanted to stop, and I just, this is why I'm making these videos, and these information that I'm going to bring in here, it's not something you're going to like, because people like this topic about twin flames. It became so trendy that everybody, I mean, yeah, everybody likes to speak about love. We all want to be loved and need to be loved, but it became such a big field of manipulations and all sorts of things that are unconscious, that it has nothing to do with twin flame community and twin flames, what everybody is talking about. So I needed to address some things, and I did that in my video in Serbian last week, and I'm not in my flat, so I don't have all my stuff here. So I have my main friends, and this is the new one, the Septari Dragon Egg, that I just didn't want to start my video without. And yeah, there were other things that happened this week, but let me just get started. Why I needed to talk about this topic? Firstly, because I have personal experience with it. I have personal experience with false twin flame dynamic, and I'm gonna be addressing that because I want to get out of that. I want to get it out of my field because it's been pressing me. And I didn't say everything in my video in Serbian, so I'm not gonna be. It's basically manipulation with how this dynamic looks like. And what I was speaking about was the psychological dynamic that is going on, the relationship pattern that everybody's talking about, like, and addressing it as if this is a twin. If you are having this is a twin flame dynamic, which is not true. It's basically a psychotic dynamic and unhealthy relationship that has nothing to do with love. Twin flames are about divine love and embodying this not only soul, because the thing that is also going, I spoke about it. I have a video on soulmates, twin flames, and it's been a while since I made this, and the information there is actually correct, but there are some other things that I was not aware at that time, because I was making it from a different point. When I received good information, but I was I was in a position where I was in a false twin flame dynamic. So I couldn't recognize it at that time, because you can't know what you don't know until you know it, until you see through it and accept it. And it's not the easiest thing that can happen to you, but if this is happening to you, it is about you. It's about blocking you. It is about dragging you into the situation where you cannot grow in, where you grow until a certain level, but then you stop developing, because this is exactly what this dynamic is meant to do for you, so that you don't it becomes about chasing that person and having this relationship at any cost, and putting up with a whole lot of shit that you shouldn't be putting up with, giving your power away to somebody else, whether that is a person or somebody who will be giving you information about this person or dynamic or an entity, or just the situation itself, but not yourself. The thing is that twin flame relationship is about empowering you, empowering both of you, and embodying your soul. Not a soul. You cannot have a twin flame relationship if you are not an awakened soul. Sure, everybody has a twin. We can all be twin flames. We all have this at a certain level. And when I spoke about that being everything is about soul agreements, some are incarnate and some incarnate together and some don't. And there are reasons why they don't. It's different for every soul. But mainly from my experience with working with other people and my own experience is because it's much easier to focus on your mission and your soul lessons if not all of you are incarnate all at once, because of the traps that and manipulations that you can get into and being sidetracked. The point is of false twin flame dynamics is to sidetrack you from your path. And there are certain souls, certain individuals, certain lineages that are more targeted than the others, and they're more sought for than the others because of the of the energy of the coding that they're carrying with it, because they're from the original creators, families that brought this planet, dimension, and other planets into existence. And that doesn't mean that they're disempowered, but the parts, they're fragmented, and the fragments are being disempowered from completely. Then you cannot embody your soul, because some souls are really big. So in order to embody your soul, you have a soulmate or a twin flame, and you have a soul group. Within your soul group, you embody your soul and Mona, not only the soul, but also the oversoul. So the point, as a soul, you are whole. Souls are not parts. So your twin flame is not your half. You're one soul. So until you embody your soul and become awaken, become conscious, and do significant work on yourself, you won't have a twin flame relationship. I spoke about it in the video, a chemical transformation of the wounds between divine masculine and divine feminine, because that's one big part of it. And the biggest wound that I see, because I mainly work with my clients on relationships, and there is a place, that we visit in this multidimensional space, that is a soul group. I constantly spend time with soul groups of my clients, and this is what I'm saying. This is, it's not only from my own personal experience, but from what I've understood from my work with them. So yes, everything is about soul contracts. As a soul group, you have same mission, same task, same lesson. As a group, when you incarnate together, you learn the same thing. You learn the same lesson. Not always the scenarios are same, different scenarios, and you don't always incarnate together. Most of the time, from what I've seen, especially with the very developed souls, evolved souls, and the souls of these original creator families, mostly they don't incarnate together, or they're dispersed on some other. They're not even in the same area. They're in different countries or in different continents, even, because with the same task, but they are sort of holding these grids and portals for these energies to be brought back to Earth, to these frequencies and vibrations, so that they can uplift the vibration of the area where they are in. So in a way, with your own very existence, you live differently, and by living differently, you don't have to do anything. By living differently, you're changing the surroundings around you. So those people around you, no matter how obnoxious they might be, they are actually affected by you, and they're learning from you, and their very existence is changed. Not maybe in an instant, not maybe in a couple of years, maybe in a couple of decades, but from what I'm seeing now, that's how it goes. At a certain point, if you are all incarnate together, you have to come together and unite, connect and unite, so that you can create a grid, form a grid, and embody not your soul, but this certain energy, vibration that you're bringing in, the harmonics that you're bringing with you from your home, from where you're coming from. And for that, you have to be incarnate, all of you. But to the most part, that doesn't happen. The meetings of these souls doesn't happen at the very beginning of life and the early years of life, because you're unconscious. You're still unconscious, and you're still learning, and you're still developing and your consciousness, and developing your energy and your soul, bringing back your abilities, bringing back, integrating your fragmented parts of yourself, and remembering. And as you do that, you are opening and you are widening your mind, and expanding into mission or missions that you have, because within these families, it's about the mission. And within the twin flame relationship, it's about the mission. The core of the relationship is divine, and a mission that you have together. So not all of these relationships are romantic or end up being romantic, but that depends on the soul contract between you. That can change, but it changes on that higher level, not here. You don't change it from the earthly perspective. You change it in the soul plane. And even that doesn't happen until you heal enough of your own energy and integrate your powers back, and your talents, abilities, your mission, and your divine energy. Because you bring down a whole lot of light, and the soul energy is pure electricity. For peace sake, you'll be electrified if you don't do that. Maybe you won't have short circuits as I do constantly in my water heater or other, I don't know, technology. Maybe you won't blow up your computers and TVs like I do, or maybe you won't blow up your fuse boxes and light balls like I do, but you will have it inside of you. So something will happen, something will go wrong, and so you have to deal with it. And something will come up constantly so that you do something about it, so that you heal it, so that you deal with it. Because it's time. You cannot. It's like, I don't know how many times have I been using this example. When you pour clean water in it, and it's like, this is a plasmic energy. When you pour it in a container that has some dirt in it, or something, or some wounds that need to be, this balm is going to be healing it. But all of this, all of the poison and all of the dirty stuff will come to the surface first, so that it goes away. Whether you pay attention to it or not, it's going to be still going out to the surface. And I see it happening with my clients all the time. Before they come to the session, something starts bubbling up, and some of them, they are frantic because they don't know what's happening, and some mostly are not, because their souls are working and their guides are working with them. But there are people, mostly people can't handle that. So you cannot have a twin flame relationship if you're completely unconscious. It's going to be stirring up a lot in you, especially lately, especially in these times, because for one part, these relationships are conscious relationships. It's about being conscious. So these relationships have to be conscious. And when something happens, you have to be dealing with it. You have to be respecting your energy, respecting your own wounds, respecting of what's going on inside of you, respecting your feelings, and respecting the feelings of the other person, and talking about it. Because when you're not talking about it, when you're not facing it, when you're not doing something about it, it's going to be festering. It's going to be, it's unconscious. It's like you're doing everything like you did before. You're not dealing with it, and it's creating a problem. The short circuit will make a malfunction. It's not going to work anymore, or it can kill you. And I mentioned this in previous video when I said, even when you meet, when you're twin flame, you don't have to meet physically, but when you meet in another plane and your light bodies meet, and nothing else needs to happen. You don't need to have an astral sex or stuff like that. Just your light bodies. When your light bodies meet, it's like, it's an explosion. And I've literally seen some of the dimensions completely explode. Like I see a city and it goes away in this energy. So you have to be able to handle that, to know. You don't necessarily have to see it like I do, but something is going to be happening with you. You're going to be all woozy, and you're going to be dizzy, or something's going to be happening. So you have to be able to handle that, or you're going to get sick, or something's going to happen with you or the other person. I don't know, you might have tower moments and everything goes tumbling down because your old life won't work anymore, because you need to have a new life. For you to have a new life, you have to give up of this old life. If you don't give up on it, well, something is going to happen so that it goes away from you. It's like your old identity is going to be dying, so to speak, so that you can have a new one. And if you don't want to let it go, and if you keep on grabbing onto it, it's going to be hurtful. And it can actually kill you. And I'm not talking about psychological death. So this is why these relationships, it's hard, man. Oh my God. It's so goddamn hard. And I'm a aware person. And I'm telling you, it is hard work. If you're not willing to do this work, this is not for you, no matter how much you want it. It's pure love. We don't know pure love. We have forgotten about it, especially if all you know is being abused all your life. It's going to be hard no matter how much you need it. Because it's going to be pushing all your pain and all your wounds and all your unaddressed stuff out to the surface. It's going to be hurting you again. You don't have to go through it again, but you're going to be crying about it. What you do when you're in pain, you cry, you scream, you do what you need to do, but you have to go through it. There's no other way. So if you're not ready for this, if you're not cut out for it, not everybody is. If you're a light bulb that, I don't know, is 60-watt light bulb, you cannot just run through yourself 100 or 150 or 200 watts, because you're gonna be, blowing up. You have to expand your vessel before that. And you do that by all the work you're doing throughout life on all of the things that, we've been talking about, like going through a therapy with me or somebody else, or some other methods or modalities that you use. So the thing that everybody is talking about, the dynamic, like one is a chaser and one is a runner. And then you end up chasing this other person, or this other person becomes abusive towards you, or this other person doesn't want to grow, or just stops working on themselves, or whatever happens, or won't get out of their comfort zones. I don't know, or because they're married, or they don't want to change anything, or they have children, or whatever. That energy, it's going to be creating like this still water, this still lake, and it's going to be starting to fest at some point, and it's not going to work. You're not, it's not that you're not compatible anymore. It doesn't really matter. This person can be a twin flame 100%. If one is awake and the other isn't, that's tragic. That's the worst case scenario that can happen. This energy can move, by the way, and it can be a walk-in and go somewhere else. So you have soulmates in your soul group too, or somebody. I mean, I still believe that higher beings can, just create bodies and, come from the spaceship and just all of a sudden they're here in this reality. Or, I don't know, whatever. Some can be a discarnate being. It's not incarnate in this reality, but it's your guide and functions as your guide from another reality and leads you to where you need to be so that you can be safe and so that you can grow and don't be stuck. When you stop learning from somebody, you can be in a relationship where you're learning from somebody who's not such a good teacher, who's maybe even a little bit dark, but as long as you're learning, your guides will allow that. Happened to me several times. When you stop learning and they start using you and abusing you a lot, poof, no more. They're going to be removing you no matter how you scream and shout. Every time. So, if the person that you consider to be your twin flame is not awake, is drug abuser, is drinking, is psychotic, and has mental illnesses, for peace sake, that's your mind, that's your ego telling you because you really want this person to love you. It's normal, it's understandable. We all want to be loved, we all need love. But that's not a twin flame. That's not a twin flame dynamic. Yes, there is karma between flames, and it can happen that somebody killed somebody in past life, so you can't meet because somebody wants to hide from somebody until you really are ready to heal this wound. But that means both of you needs to be conscious and aware and awakened souls. It won't work if the other one isn't, because trust me, it's going to happen again. It's going to be that kind of dynamic, and it's going to be so painful. That's your karmic relationship. That's your karmic partner. And even if it was the energy of your twin flame at some point, if this person doesn't stop growing or became, what's the word I'm looking for? Betrayed you, or betrayed himself, or his group, or guides, or mission. For some reason I lost the word in English at this moment. They're going to tolerate because this person then created a new karma. This being incurred a new karma, and they have new lessons. And it's not your karma. You don't have to carry the karma of your twin flame. You don't have to carry karma of anybody. This is a lie. This is a trap. You have your own karma. Your own karma is a lesson. It's a consequence of your behaviors. It's a cause and effect. You did something and you have some consequences to bear. So do they. And you don't have to be experiencing this. And trust me, I have been experiencing something that was not my own doing and my own making. I don't want that ever in my life. So, yeah, they can become corrupt, basically. That was the word I was looking for. Something happens and they don't want to grow, or they make a wrong decision or unfavorable decision, and they don't know it at that time, but that's their karma. That's their lesson, whether from only this life or all of the other ones, or whether this is the same lesson that they keep falling to pass. That's not your business. If you were there to help them pass this lesson and they didn't, not there anymore. They're going to be removing you, no matter whether you like it or not. So the dynamic of chaser-runner is very unconscious dynamic and a very unhealthy dynamic, and not a twin flame dynamic. That's a trap. That is, making it sound romantic, and you're thinking that you're healing this energy and you're healing him by loving him from a distance. You cannot change anybody who doesn't want to change. You cannot heal anybody who doesn't want to be healed and doesn't even think that they have a problem. You can only heal something inside of you. You can seek for your own karmic pattern and see why are you making choices like you are? Why you keep having this dynamic come up? Where did this start? And what happened to you so that you're repeating it because you need to heal it. You need to heal it inside of you, not in this other person. Yes, when you heal something inside of yourself and you remove the trigger inside of you, you switch off the trigger in you, something changes. But that doesn't necessarily have to mean that this person will stay in your life. If this person is so destructive for you, it might be removed from your life, no matter whether you want it or not. When something is abusive towards you and you keep remaining in this abusive situation, it's because you've learned to tolerate the situations that are intolerable because you've been abused before. And chances are that this person has been your abuser way before. And chances are that this person is actually sent to you to keep you stuck. And that's your pattern. That's been happening before. Especially in spiritual community, you have so many awake people, whether male or female, more male than female, but so many marriages that don't work, so many men who have 3, 2, 4, 5 marriages, and a lack of understanding how relationships work and not knowing how to do relationships, and lack of empathy, especially in men. And that's another thing. If you are somebody who is empathic, if you have a big heart and you are soft, your twin flame is not somebody who is psychotic and who has zero empathic skills. It's the same as you. This person is completely, psychologically speaking, same as you. You're just different polarities. You are same soul. Just different polarities. On some plane, there's no male or female. It doesn't really matter on the soul plane. it's here we identify with certain, even in my sessions when they come in a certain form, they present themselves to us in a certain form, whether male or female, depending what you need at that moment. But in my last session, because my client had in a previous session, his soul presented himself to him as a female soul, but now it was a male soul. So I asked, how come? And he said, well, the form doesn't really matter. But he needed more this male energy to embody his divine masculine energy more in himself. And then he was functioning more from his divine feminine energy. And it's actually, as a woman, he was actually abusing men a lot because it was very manipulative. And mentioning this with a man, it's so easy. It's so easy to manipulate them. So this is why you have more of these fragmentations, especially in spiritual community, in men than in women. But in women, it goes the other way. You're sort of not blocked, but you're put down. You're controlled. You are somebody who's needy of love, who's hungry of love, and then you have somebody who is controlling you. Men, it's so sad, but in this way, I just had a conversation with one of my very first teachers recently, and it's so sad that you have, like, divine masculines are so much more wounded than feminine. Yes, feminine are, and we are healing this feminine wound, and divine feminine is on the rise and healing the sexual wounds in divine feminine, but divine masculine are so, oh my God, they're so much more fragmented than divine feminines. There's so much more in disconnect with their higher selves. And for some reason, men are not so prone in doing their inner work. They do at some point, and they come to a certain level, but then from what I've seen, they just, at some point, they just give up because something is too difficult, too much emotions, too intense, too something, especially when it's too much love. Oh my God, I've had somebody yell at me because I was full of love. Yeah, that's my wound, and I become so easily triggered, and I've just noticed it recently. And I can only notice something recently because I've met this light body energy. So my wounds, love wounds, come up to the surface, and I become so easily triggered. And especially when I come to this, I'm offering so much more of my heart, and when I see that kind of becomes too much, I can't breathe because I've actually experienced that more than once. How come you can be so loving when I'm such an asshole? I'm being an asshole towards you, and I'm doing it deliberately. And I've experienced that. Yeah. And this is the wound of the divine masculine. For some reason, that there comes a point where they cannot receive love. Because it's not very easy for men to tackle in and to deal with the wound of abuse for them. And the energy, divine energy doesn't hide things. It brings things to the surface. It's going to be bringing up all of the places where you've been abused. It's done that to me too. I've had to accept some of the things that I never thought. I mean, for God, would never dream in my life that this could never happen to me, but it did. So I have this thing sometimes when I look. I think that things are easy for people to look at or to work through because I've done it. And I don't even see the length of my path and the things that I had to do that, because for me, I've been through it and I've done it. And for me, that's easy. So when I look back, I don't see it as a difficulty. I say, oh, yeah, can be done. I did it. But it was not easy. I forgot that it was not easy, and it took me time, and it took me crying and yelling and screaming and difficult things to go through. And I had to do it because I had to do it. I was pushed in doing it. But some people don't like feeling pushed, and you might not be pushing them, but the energies will be pushing them. And as they cannot yell at energies, they will yell at you. That happened to me, not recently, happened to me a while ago, but there's been a recent situation that kind of reminded me of that, and then my heart kind of got. So that's my vulnerable moment for this. But why am I speaking about this? Basically, as I said, you can be manipulated into being diverted from your path, so that you don't do what you needed, so that you don't focus on your mission. And in particularly, this has been happening to the spiritual community, men and women both, but from what I've seen, mostly men, because if you carry a certain level of energy and you develop until a certain level, they allow it to you, and then they'll be sending you people. I mean, for peace sake, I just told you at the beginning of this video that I'm receiving messages from the Illuminati who want to recruit me. And this time, the message was going as, I'm this and this, and I'm from Illuminati and want to recruit you and lead you to the path of enlightenment. That part is always the same. But now they're saying, you can remove all your financial blocks. With us, financials are not the problem. And they've been creating financial issues for me since last couple of months. And I'm like, whew, no. And what happens next? I almost got electrocuted. And I know that was something sent to me because I saw stuff in dreams and I felt the energy around there. So that's how it goes. First, they try to recruit you, and they send you people. They send me. I've been mentioning this throughout my videos. They send me people in my sessions. And they send me people as possible partners, possible spouses. I mean, I'm not married, but I've had this false twin flame dynamics. And while people were telling me that I'm being used there, that I'm not respected, and that my energy is being drained, I didn't believe it. But eventually what I had to do, because I'm not going to be speaking over everything or what happened, but I've been kicked out of the group, I've been abused, I've been publicly humiliated, and I've been, all kinds of things that hurt in my heart. But I worked on 2 years on this, for 2 years. And I've had several therapists, psychologists and energy therapists who worked with me on this because I couldn't recover. I still didn't recover from this. And I couldn't accept when they were telling me that this was, I still cannot accept that it was deliberately, and that if somebody was sent to me and it was a karmic pattern, because this was happening to me before every time when I was about to develop at a certain level. And yeah, I ended up badly. Not as much as now, but there have been things that prove to me that this certain energy is attaching to me and draining me of my own energy, because I did not agree on some things. I was never even asked. So this tells me that they don't need permission from you to attach to you. They just use you because you're sort of like their part of their subject or something like that. That's how you're viewed on a certain level. I'm not talking about person, but in some entities. And it was so hurtful it was hurtful. I'm speaking about it because I want it to stop. I don't want it. I don't want somebody tapping into my hands and blocking me and, you know, making me feel as I'm not good enough about myself. And especially when I need to shoot a little bit higher. If somebody needs my healing energy, there are ways, and there are ways to communicate and say that and ask for help. This is not that, and I'm not tolerating it anymore. It's abusive. I feel it as abusive to me. It's painful for me because it's not the same vibration anymore, and my energy can't handle it. It's not in alignment anymore. If it was in alignment at some point, for some reason, I don't know what happened, but it's not in alignment anymore, and it doesn't feel, it's destructive for me, and I don't want it. And I'm not agreeing on it. So one of the other things that I forgot to mention in my videos, in my previous video, is that, you know, this is basically what I'm telling you is about the alien love bite, and the ones who are setting the circumstances for you are the invaders that I've been mentioning before in my videos. And that's been happening for you, obviously, for quite a while, not only this lifetime. And, you know, they can send you a husband or wife to completely control you and stop you from developing. You develop, like I said, to a certain level, but then they send you somebody who's actually trained and prepared to do that. And like for this person that I know, his spouse is trained and prepared to control him. You know, when you are agreeing on somebody who is in a modeling industry, in a fashion industry, or acting industry. By the way, I also had a relationship with an actor, so I know what I'm talking about. You're going to be agreeing on a whole lot of neon lights, and neon light is a false light. Most of them, not now, but most of them until a certain point are very unaware, until they can also become very great channels and conduits for the divine energy if they start healing themselves properly. But some are trained to do exactly the opposite because they are all in this industry of, and I'm talking about the masonry. So they're all in agreements with them, and they're their army. And in the same way that they try to make me their subject, I'm not the only one. It's not only happening to me, and it's happened to others too, and especially in the spiritual community. This is especially lately, as in a religion, in the religious systems. It's not a religion, but it's like a new age community. It's not everything is new age, but even in, some people and when I said that you come to a certain level when you cannot handle the energy that is pushing you to face some of the abuses that you've been through, it's because of with trauma and abuse and rituals that they use and black magic, they make you cannot remember some things that are done, fragmentations that are done to you, which are done deliberately, especially in your childhood. And I've mentioned this way before. And it happens with men and women both. Same way. Usually through sexual trauma. And a lot of abuse. So you have to become ready at some point to face this. Because this is how they're blocking you and controlling you. But not allowing you to remember or become really angry. Or you are aware of it and you know what you're doing. So when you actually see somebody becoming aware of that and seeing through you, you become angry with that person. And I think this is what happened to me. So basically, they send somebody to everybody, especially in the spiritual community, because this is how they keep you. This is how they keep status quo. This is how you create the reality that they want you to create. This is how they spread these myths and legends and stuff that are not even real. And this is how they manipulate your mind so that you create certain belief systems. Even the priestess thing is a manipulation from way, 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 way back. And I've recently discovered that, because everything is being inverted. And this inverted reality, as a priestess, especially as a high priestess, you were the one who was used and abused the most since your day one. And at some point they make you believe this is something great and high, like look at the churches, look at who's building temples in gold and having the driving jeeps and stuff, having a whole lot of money and their own army. And then they make you believe this is something great. But essentially, in the beginning, the very first wounding between divine feminine and divine masculine is taking in these women who were barriers of the lineage and using them for breeding. This is the original fall. It happened in Atlantis, but from what I've seen, from my memories, I've seen it happen in other planets too. And in particularly, I remember Orion and Aldebaran, but I think it started with the wars in Lyra. And I've seen, what I saw is that they were capturing and imprisoning royal families, and they were taking males and females in different crafts. I'm speaking about the alien invaders. And they're taking them in different crafts. And I saw this, women and children being taken on another one, and men taken on another one. And all kinds of genetic experiments were happening there. And all the breedings and stuff were from the women, and that happened after the fall in the Atlantis, and all of the beings like you hear in the Greek legends and stuff is from there. But those women, they never survived that because they couldn't. They were like different species, for peace sake. And until you created something that could actually look that we can kind of look the same, it took time. So all of these kind of rituals that became, at that point, it was like done with technology, but on the earth plane, they were very primitive rituals, and they were very abusive and very bloody. And that created a fragmentation, not only in yourself, in your soul, but in an entire soul group. Because these families were incarnating together, like soul groups at certain points were incarnating together. And if I said that you, as a twin flame, you're the same soul, it's like one sphere. And when you create a wound in this sphere, you create a rip, and you create a hole. This is the original wound between divine feminine and divine masculine, because they kind of split them up violently by using and abusing women and killing them, by either killing men or training them, breeding them to do exactly the same and become abusers and users of women. Because essentially at some point, because they were using and breeding through these women, these lineages became intermingled. And some had more energy and DNAs from mothers, and some from these invaders. So you can figure it out. We've been watching of what's been going on. So men divine masculines were more fragmented and abused than women, because they were destroyed basically. Women too, but they were, I know, they'd rather kept them alive so that they can use them for breeding. And only if you started being not going along with it, or if you're not of use anymore, then you would kind of get rid of, like, gotten rid of. So, I'm speaking this because, at some point I saw this divine masculine of mine who was like, looked like very native and on a horse, who looked black and white horse with, some like a big spot, like spots, something black and white. And he was captured on a spaceship, taken on a spaceship, and he was constantly trying to get out, but then he couldn't. But then from that, his genetic material was constantly taken, and he was being replicated, like divine feminine, which would be me, but in a different way. Yeah, so it's not in their interest for you to get together. And also these couples, like twin flame, real, original twin flames, are very much targeted. Especially when you start coming together and getting, not only that your energy needs to, you need to do a little bit of healing of your energy so that it can support you, but, there are other parties that are not really interested in you getting back together or controlling you if you do get back together, because they want a piece of that energy. They want it for themselves so that you work for them. And the reality is they should be working for you, because they are not even real. They're not in this dimension. They're somewhere else. And when I'm speaking about these controllers, like, everybody's talking about reptilians, and that are just the army. And the ones who are doing the biggest manipulations are the Greys. And I've seen this, giving this false twin flame dynamics. When things started going really bad, they allow it to happen until a certain moment, until it goes along with them, until you are buying whatever is being sold to you, whatever they're telling you. So you're kind of doing things that they're expecting you to do. But when you actually start, developing a little bit more, or something starts happening that they didn't it's not in their best interest, they're going to be meddling into your reality, which is not quite allowed, but somehow they feel as if they own you, because you're either bought or you are their prisoner or something. And which means that on some level, there is a fragment of you, and your altar, there is still, they can access. So whether that's on a ship, as you're a prisoner on a ship, as I mentioned, or somewhere else, I don't know at the moment, but there is a part of you that they can access easily and change your reality. And I was seeing two Greys all the time in my dreams who would come, and I would see usually me and my brother and some other people in some camps, some like prison camps, or some sites that looked like Nazi camps, something like that. And you're basically, you're limited in your movement there, but it's another reality. And they have some kind of technology there that is keeping you in some premises that you cannot leave. But there are no confines, nothing is, but you cannot, because it's done with frequency, with technology. And I was seeing, like, at some point I saw myself taking some kind of something, a stick or something, and I was smashing some computers and monitors. And when those two beings would come, my reality turned completely, like this physical reality turned completely hellish after that. They would change things for me, and I was completely miserable. and all these, kind of bad things and blocks and stuff started happening, and these abuses that I was speaking about, because this is the kind of energy that they want from you. And they divert you from a path like this, because you start trying constantly to fix it. And I'm this kind of person that looks for the catch 22 inside of me, so that if I only change something inside of me, and everything around me will change, and everything will be, yeah, it changes, but it also means that some things will be removed from you. And it kind of took a while, but this it took me a while to understand this, what's been happening. In these therapists that I've been mentioning helped me with that, and some of their content that they also share helped me with that. So basically what I'm talking about here is alien love bite. I don't experience that. That's a real thing. And I'm not going to be speaking about it because there are other therapists and authors who are speaking about it, but I'm telling you that it's a real thing and it's happening. And they usually do it through meddling I don't know whether this is, it's not in even an astral plane. They meddle through your dreams, and first they send you somebody who's going to control you, whether that becomes your spouse. Some people, like male or female, they get a wife or husband who's going to be who's going to be very controlling of them and dominating. And basically this means that your power chakra will be destroyed at some point, and there will be, you experience a lot of humiliation and stuff from this person. A very difficult relationship and marriage. And some have their task is to destroy you, to destroy your reputation. And some are doing great things because basically they're trained. This is what they are about to do, because this is why they got their position and their fame and fortune and everything. And they're sent to you, and you can only discover this if you're really open, if you're really ready, if you really want to awaken, if you really want to see the level of the abuse that you've been gone through. Yes, it's darn painful. It's darn painful. But we need to do it. We need to do it if we want to lift these whales around us up. If we want to lift this reality to another level, and this is what we came here for to do. And also these males that are kind of used and abused and are doing the same thing, if they have been awake and if they are doing what they were supposed to do in the first place, they would shift this reality in the blink of an eye. And this is why they control them the most, male and female. And especially, the couples and the so the soul groups. So basically, it's like, I don't know if you remember this exposon experiment. So if you have one particle that splits in two, and basically if you influence one, only by observing it or something, you also influence the other one. That's what I'm talking about. So if they have one, they have both of you. They can only influence one of you, and the other one will feel it, because you feel everything your twin is feeling. You don't even have to know each other. You'll be experiencing everything your twin experiences, like in your entire life. You might, if you meet, you might find out about it later. But basically, if one is trapped, the other one can't be ascending either. Doesn't really matter if it's not trapped, but it won't be ascending, because something will be pulling him or her back constantly. So, and this goes for the entire soul group. This is why most of the times the entire soul group doesn't incarnate together. Not everybody, it's not everybody's case. But, like I said, to the most developed souls, they don't. Some finish their task, but it's easier for them to help you from the other level, so that you're not all kind of trapped. Of course, it's all about soul agreements and soul contracts and whatever your lesson is and whatever your mission is for. But for some of us who are here to understand where the traps are and to be grid workers, grid keepers, gatekeepers, and the ones who are bringing, helping other people rise and ascend, that's going to be the case. And we're going to be targeted the most. And especially to the twin flames, not only that your energy will be pushing a lot of things to the surface and people around you won't understand your frequency because you don't speak the same language, energetically speaking. But all of these other parties will be interested in you not developing and not ascending because you're bringing down a whole lot of light and energy that they cannot handle. There are beings that can handle it. And like I said, these are the grays who are doing these manipulations. But the biggest ones, the most, oh God, I have the biggest problem with them. They are my kind of thing. And I want to grow. I'd roar if I could now. Are the mantises. They are the master manipulators. They are the most developed technologically, and they're behind all these stuff. And they are just, they're doing all the experiments and all the stuff that they have been mentioning. They're the mantises. I don't know. Maybe there are others who are more developed, and when they speak about gold, but whenever somebody mentions mantises, for me, I'm like, I'm ready to jump to. Because all of the things that I remember, I'm like, they are the ones who are the master manipulators and the masters of black magic and stuff, and AI and technology who's used against us, and all of these the master geneticists, and the other ones who are not, who make contracts with them, they're kind of made into it through technology. So yeah, what I've learned, how I learned this, not only through these dreams, but I remember the Brazilian therapist that I had. It's basically I met this woman because I have a friend who's Brazilian, and she's a very powerful woman. And this therapist doesn't even, we couldn't communicate. She doesn't speak English, but my friend wanted to help me, and she helped her. So she was basically, she connected us, and she was translating for me. And yeah, she was actually the one who helped me the most. But the very first thing that she told me is that I'm trapped here, and I have these covers, and she can't read me. She couldn't read me until she got some permissions. And I placed those stuff around me like a while ago so that I'm not recognized. And my soul group was trying to reach me for a really long time, which meant not only this life, but like many incarnations, because I was left behind. I was trapped here, and I was hiding all the time, so that they couldn't even reach me, and they were trying to help me and kind of extract me. And I could get by, and I could only survive because I had all these covers. Had I lived in Latin America, and I don't know America, she wasn't specific about that, but she was more specific about Latin America. Had I lived somewhere in shamanic community, I would be recognized much sooner, and they would eliminate me. She didn't say who they are, though. And she also said that with everything that I've done, with all of the work that I've done on myself, especially with the shamanic trainings and stuff that I've had, and even hypno work and hypnotherapy work and stuff that I kind of downloaded for myself, I helped my divine masculine liberate himself on some level. But because I was left trapped, he couldn't ascend. So kind of his task was going to help me to liberate me and help me and unite, be in union. I don't know if that meant physical union or not, because at that point I was kind of still trying to heal this one particular relationship that was obviously not functioning. So I don't really know how that happened, but at that time I was started being interested in a lot of feminine work and priestesses work, but that was because my divine feminine, me as a divine feminine, I was trapped, and I was feeling very trapped and imprisoned, and I still am feeling like that actually. But the point is that he cannot, like divine masculine cannot ascend without divine feminine, and the other way around. That's my point. That's what I'm saying, because that was not the case only in one life. That was the lesson of that therapy, of that work. So basically, I was discovered. The reason why I had to do so much work lately and helping all of the things that I've been telling you, until 2018, my covers were okay. But until in 2018 or 17, I was recognized, and yeah, my cover was blown in a way on some level, and I started having a lot more problems and a lot more attacks than I used to. And the only, yeah, I know when and where and who could have done that and how. So that's I'm not willing to share that. That's no. So yeah, I'm telling you some things from my personal experience. That's what I'm saying. So this kind of dynamic that is very unconscious, and it's a dynamic that is controlling you, making you feel small. Basically, the destructive dynamic, pathological one. I'm chasing somebody and waiting for somebody to come back or awaken or remember me, or if you're pulling somebody constantly for their sleeves to pay attention to you or to tell them that it's me, look, that's me, look at me, and not somebody else, then that's not really it. It's not love. I don't know, maybe that person can even think that they love you, but it's not healthy love, and it's not a healthy relationship. And when something is not healthy, it's not conscious. As you're working on it and as you're healing it, you're making it conscious. That's another thing. But you cannot do that if the other person is not willing to do the work and heal. You can only, even if you are 100%, 1,000,000% twin flames, you cannot heal the other person. You can only do that while you're healing your own energy, like I said now. But the other being has to do their work at a certain point. Until a certain level, you just have to put some work on yourself. If you're not willing to do it, it's, somebody else cannot do it for you. You are not, physically speaking, although energetically you might be one sphere, one being, but physically you are not. And if this other person has other issues and their own entrapments and their own belief system, or wrong beliefs, and the others who are doing all of the work and who are sent to him or her to block him or divert her from her path, at some point they have to do the work. You cannot do it for them. And if they're sick, if their soul is sick, if their spirit is sick, I'm sorry, but that's not your twin flame. It's not going to work, because it's going to be infecting you. This is what the point is. This is why this first original fall and first original wound between divine masculine and feminine, because it was meant for them to be not only separated but infected. We're all being infected with this cosmic. But on some level, I'm speaking about what I saw and what other people also speak, but this is like some kind of physical some kind of physicality, some levels. But on some other level, this is like cosmic virus and inverted codes that we all got infected with at a certain point. And this is how it's manifesting in certain realities. And I'm speaking from my point of view. Other people who are, I don't know, architects and grid workers could be speaking about something different, or who are working with sound and frequencies, and they would be speaking about something else. But I'm speaking about stories that people carry in themselves, about the realities that they create through these stories. And this is how it looks like. I'm yes, healing the soul, but this is like your film, like you're watching a film, and then you're like, you have this series and the season 1 and season 2 until you get, to completely heal that. And it, essentially speaking, yeah, we are all frequency and vibration, light and sound and frequency. But in some, a little bit lower density, we are a story, and we are a film. Some see these stories like running through their minds, and some watch a film. And this physical reality, we are solid, and we're creating this dynamic, and we're creating our lives through this dynamic. So basically, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, for some, that can be only a memory, so you're creating this from your memory. And you're creating these difficulties for yourself because you have this memory in you that keeps coming up to the surface so that you can heal it. But for some, it isn't. For some, it's really, they're trying to really hook you in again and pull you back in, or for the first time for some. Some are here for the first time. There are those too, So, yeah, it can happen naturally, but that you meet your twin flame when you're younger. But, honestly speaking, how many of us are entering our relationships completely consciously? How many of us are choosing our partner completely consciously, especially when we are younger? And what do we really think, what is carrying us? And who are we? Where are we coming from? What is our lineage? And who are they? And where are they coming from? We don't even do that when we are older, and especially not when we are 20-something or 18 or... That doesn't mean you should be blocking somebody and be in somebody's way when they have their own decisions and their own lessons. Because this is how we develop, too. But we can be there to make something conscious and make something known for others to learn from our experience and from our wisdom. Yeah, this is what we do, these things. And I've recently had this example with my cousin, my sister, who, like, not recently got divorced from her marriage, but she only recently discovered that this person was from a lineage who in the Second World War were creating, who were cooperating with Nazis, and they were sending people to be shot, to these mass shootings that they had. They're creating lists for people to be killed. And our ancestors were in those who were killed. And then you wonder why your child has problems lately, and you have a sick child, or something happens and you have, we don't think about our choices all that much, don't we? Especially we don't do relationships consciously, and this is part of this is everything. This is why we have all these wounds later. This is why as children we have wounds. This is why our parents give us wounds. This is, And I know it's a whole lot to think about, and it's a whole lot of consciousness to it. It's a whole lot of things to be conscious of. But I mean, we need to start somewhere. So yes, this is basically one of the basic things how these controllers of the false matrix are creating it is through influencing relationships, and this is how they do it. And this doesn't mean you have to be paranoid now and don't like anybody and be consciously alert. I did that too. But you cannot completely control your heart. But once you meet your real twin flame, once it is, or a soulmate, when it's true. For soulmate, it wouldn't be so intense, but once you meet your true twin flame, you'll know it. On some level, when your light bodies meet, your entire being, entire body, your womb will be vibrating. As I mentioned, you will have music from your body. You will have music. You will make symphony, and it will be harmonious music. And your body, at least my body, was completely vibrating. It was spirals all over. And in your, real soulmate relationship or twin, they're easier than twin flame relationships. And when you're not manipulated and you're not diverted from your path, because it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be happening just like that. And especially in a twin flame relationship, it's like when you have a key and a lock. It's like somebody's a key for you, and it's unlock things in you just like that. Yes, it will bring other things to the surface, but you're not going to have to be chasing somebody to pay attention to you or give you something, or of course it can be push and pull at certain point when things start happening, but you're not feeling that heaviness on your heart, and if you're not feeling as if you're being manipulated, or as if something is off, that's how you know it. When you're expanding, when you feel that you're expanding. And in these other, in all kinds of relationships, you can feel expanding until a certain point. But when something is pathological, it's not something you should be staying in. That's what I'm saying, and this is a trap. You don't need to have somebody else coming in to create this entrapment for you. Our minds can do it for ourselves. We are quite perfect in doing this for ourselves too. Because our ego doesn't want to feel as if something failed. And it's going to be, keeping you in these loops. And all these influences are meant to be keeping you in loops, and you'll be looping this karmic pattern all the time without actually healing it. You're going to be, by constantly searching what's the problem there and what you can heal, you can not be healing it but repeating it. And this is what I've been doing. That's one of the things. And I'm not speaking about those things when there are always disagreements and things, when you're coming into alignment with somebody, there will be ups and downs. But when there is constant strife and you're constantly feeling unhappy somewhere, then that's obviously not for you. And if you have somebody who's like mentally unstable and not, you'll be putting each other out. The point of the twin flame relationship is to fan your flames, is to create a bigger flame. Because when you come together, it all becomes one flame. You're flaming, you're burning the dross. You look at the fire, it's burning everything around it. And you are this fire, this divine fire. But in the relationships that are meant to block you or hurt you or divert you, or extract your energy, or just there to, or karmic relationship, or just somebody who's just who's using you or extracting your energy, or some being who's attached to this person and it's also then trying to attach to you, it's going to be putting you off. It's as if you're just somebody's pouring water in your fire too, and you're shut down. And that's the main difference. And I've been seeing a lot lately, people who are, like until a couple of years ago, maybe, I don't know, 2, 3, even 5 years ago, nobody was speaking about twin flame relationships. And it's not like they were not a thing. And I'm not saying that they don't exist. And all these people who are speaking about alien love bite and stuff like that are not saying that this doesn't exist. But there has been a very big manipulation of our reality, and we're discovering all this now. This is one of the negative alien agenda. This is number 1 negative alien agenda. So all of the other agendas are coming up from this. Because this is the first ever thing that happened so that they could create this reality for them. Because they breed it. Like the Nephilim that they speak about. But, in reality, this breeding couldn't happen through mating. Because you were different sizes, different species, that it was impossible. It was genetical. It was like, through some other kinds of experiments and stuff and technology that's been used. You were used. And we are where we are. We're here now. We can only make this conscious and remember and heal this inside of us, so we stop repeating these dynamics and stop creating this through us, and stop creating this false matrix through us, because it's being created through us. Yeah. And I've also known people who discovered that their spouses have been sent to them so that they can control them, because they have been abused and controlled and used because they were, I don't know, in the military or something. And this person is from a certain lineage that they're interested in. And they do therapy together, and one discover it, and they do therapy together, and they decide they're going to stay together and heal their relationship and keep it. And it's possible. I'm not saying that all this so that everything is so negative and that you should be giving completely up on something, but something like this is possible. Like I said, if you want to make things conscious and do something about it and heal it. So if this is your twin flame, this is how it's going to be. You're going to be healing it together. You're going to be working on it. You're going to be communicating about it. You're going to be creating something together. Maybe this is your task. Maybe this is your mission, to heal this portion of your energy, to close this hole. When you create a hole, when there is one sphere and there is like this, you punch a hole there, something else comes in it. Like this cosmic virus and stuff. So you have to pull these things out, clear it away, so that you can have this perfect shaped sphere that's shiny and bright. Healed energy. Energy is indestructible. And there is no such thing as bad or good energy. Energy is energy. It's only for one certain being it feels this way, and for the other being it feels this way. And normally we wouldn't mingle, but with all these things going on that we just mentioned now, we mingle. Because all these stories on this level, they manifested in this ongoing movie like this. And on the frequency level, they look like, I don't know, certain curves or codes or something that is not in a perfect shape. It's not harmonious. It's not a symphony. It's like this sound that is a little bit off. It's like even the being, even a sphere, even when you have these frequent sounds of spheres for the planets, and some sound off and strange, like the Earth sounds painful, like it's in so much pain, and because it is. That's basically what I'm speaking about. You have all these unhealthy things and parasites and stuff and things that are making you unhealthy that you have to clear, remove, heal from your sphere so that it's shiny and bright. And whether you do it together as a couple or as a group, you know, but all this that I now said is not to make you paranoid and not and wanting not to have a relationship. And it's not to say that twin flame relationships don't exist and everything is an obstacle to it. It's just to make aware that there is a false twin flame dynamic. There is a manipulation going on there. Especially, it's been going on forever, but especially lately, it's been a place of a lot of abuse. And some people don't do it deliberately, but they're basically buying the story. That is not true. And the only way to know is to go to the soul plane and go to the soul group and communicate with your soul group. You can come for a session and we will do that. I'll get you there. We'll get you there. But that's one thing, one way, but you can do it in other ways. And basically, yeah, it can be different from group to group, but I have noticed that it's a very difficult place for some souls to go, and they cannot handle the energy that is going on there because they have a lot of a bit more healing on themselves and on their energy to do, because sadly we cannot handle the divine love running through our bodies because we have to expand our vessels and heal ourselves so that we are able to hold it and without being destroyed through it, because it's a much higher energy voltage than we're used to until, well, not so well, but until recently. So I think this is all I had to say about this let me just check. Let me check if there is anything more I have to say about this. No. I think I'm going to make another video. I don't know if it's necessary, but about soul groups. But point being that the twin flame dynamic is not a discordant one, and it's not a pathological one, and it's not something. Yeah, I mean, with love, there are no guarantees. You have to take some risks, and something might or might not work, even if somebody is your twin, 100% your twin flame. Because there are certain alignments that you have to go through, and some things that you have to decide. And it also depends on the soul agreement, whether you agree on this what you agreed on for this incarnation. Whether you're going to be cooperating or um, bringing in new project or a new um, energy only, or bringing in a mission or a relationship or a child. That's different for everybody. That's why you go. That's why we go to the soul group, to see whether the agreements, sometimes they're obvious and sometimes they're not, because somebody's not ready to hear that decision and what the soul wants. It's all about the soul decision. It's about what your soul wants. And these are the things, that kind of changes that happen on the soul plane. Not everything happens on the soul plane. All the choices happen on the soul plane. Yes, we make choices around here too, and they can be in alignment with the soul choices or not. When they're not in alignment with the choices of your soul, you're going to be in conflict with your soul. This is how you're going to be creating difficulties for yourself. And this is where you open up these holes for all these other energies to come in and play. And invite you in these, basically you start working for them, not yourself. You're not helping yourself. You're not learning your lesson. And one other thing, yes, exactly what I forgot to mention, this is precisely why you don't bring other beings, other souls in the twin flame relationship, because it's a container. You create a container. You are a vessel. Two of you are a vessel for the divine, and this is like one sphere. Yes, those can be energies of your soul group, soulmates, but the difference between these energies are that they're not disruptive. They're not destroying the relationship. They will be helping you come together, be together, or if something difficult is happening with either one of you, they will be helping you. I don't know, one is sick and then the other needs help, and both need help. One died or is dying and the other needs support and help. Or a child that needs help. And this is usually it used to be, not anymore, that these soul families are actual families. Your spouse and your children, father and mother and grand, but it's not the case anymore because of all of these other things and the agreements that I mentioned. But when you bring somebody else who is destructive, who have other intentions, whether they are actually sent to you with the intention to destroy the union or to bring something in or not, or to bring you a lesson or to move you back into a karmic loop, or create basically everything that you do, bringing in all these other energies in your union, is incurring karma, is creating karma with them. So it's not advisable to bring in other energies. And also because these unions and they're, as a highly developed soul, you will be empathic and telepathic, and you will be sensing it. So even when you're speaking with somebody else, and not to mention some other things, the other one will be feeling it or even not seeing it. So yeah, that can be bringing in other in your union, or having more, I don't know, more partners, whether that's male or female, doesn't really matter. That will be destructive for the soul union, unless this is your agreement on the soul plane because of, I don't know, you need to clear some karma or learn some other lesson, whatever. But if it is not, then it will be destructive. And in the twin flame relationship, in the soul group, your soul group will not be destructive for you, but every other beings will be destructive, and that would create problems because all of the others would feel it as a betrayal, or as if you have became corrupted, or you can lose, basically you can lose your stripes, you can lose your place in your soul group, and it will be hard to get back. You, from on a soul plane, this looks like you descend in color, you become of a different color, and you're going to a lower plane, on a different plane, maybe not lower, but in a different plane, in a different group that is more in alignment with your energy. But that can be really painful for not only your soul, your twin soul or soulmate, but for the entire group, because it's felt as a rip, as like a tear. So this is why it's not advisable to be, and besides, it's not very conscious. Like I said, these relationships are conscious. This is not conscious. This is unconsciously bringing on, allowing other energies that want to disrupt or feed on this energy of the group, or your own energy of whatever they're coming with an agenda. And if you're manipulated and I don't know, attacked, or somebody else would be from either your twin or soul group would be feeling this more than you. But if you are allowing it, if you're allowing this manipulation, that will become your lesson. It's not the lesson of the others anymore. So this is why. This is why it's felt as a rip, and it's really, that's really painful. That's one of my triggers. It's like, whenever I am on that kite, I don't want to experience this ever again in my, like. And the thing is, I have been experiencing, because, like I said, I have been repeating this. When you have a certain trauma, that's a very big and unhealed trauma from way, way, way back, even if this life or way, way, way back. The way the healing works, when it's unattended trauma, it's going to be constantly inviting you to pay attention by repeating itself. But the dynamic that you're repeating it's repeating it because it wants to be healed. And if you can't remember, and if you don't know where it came from, if it's so way, way back, it's going to be really, really painful. But you're going to be experiencing it as it's something really, really. You cannot be, because at that moment when trauma happens, you actually you freeze. You're frozen in this moment, and you actually don't breathe. You stop breathing for a little bit. So that's how it feels. That's how you know, because you're going to be feeling this moment of being frozen. And this rip is what happened. Like I said, I've been trapped, and my soul was trying to contact me for a really long time, and that's this trauma that I've been trying to heal for a really long time. And that's why I've been trying to, because I've been constantly told that my soul group is not incarnate, and that there are now many, like I've met 1, 2, maybe. At least I thought one, and then it turned out that it wasn't, and then I think another one. So I don't know anymore, but at least I know one of my teachers is one of my very first teachers is. But I've been repeating this. I mean, it's mine. That's my healing process, because I've been repeating this trauma for myself, because I've been removed from this trauma has removed me from my soul group, and that's not only my twin flame, but my soul group. But it's kind of, I've been left behind. My twin left me behind, and whether he's incarnate or not, the energy, I'm speaking about the energy being, and this being has been helping me a lot. It serves as my guide. So, there are other things that happened recently regarding this. Who participated in this rip? I mean, all these beings started jumping out from I don't know where. And I think this is important for this talk now. But that's basically how it's going to be feeling, and it's not advisable for you. I mean, yeah, that can be agreement between partners, and that's another topic. That's topic on relationships and partnerships. I'm talking about twin flame dynamic, false twin flame dynamic, and twin flame dynamics in relationship. In these container, it's not advisable to bring in others. So, whether that's a collaboration or romantic relationship, but mostly in a romantic relationship. In a collaboration, that's a little bit different, but that's fault. That's like, it's one container, and then you have one container, and then you have the other container, and then you have to have something bigger that's going to hold this container, or all of these smaller containers as in a bigger container, if they're not from the same soul group. They can be, and that's different, but if they're not, you're going to need a little bit container, because that can be certain dynamics, because the karmic patterns between those might come up. That's why. It's not nothing to be afraid of, but just to be aware of. That's why some sparks and lightnings can happen somewhere. Yeah. So, yeah. I think that's all now. I hope this was helpful. I thought that's something that I'm not going to be sharing publicly, but more in a coaching or mentoring or teaching program. But I started being so irritated with everything that I've heard recently, and with everything that I'm seeing, because there are groups now that are speaking about twin flames, and that became so. It's not something that I'm not saying that it's not something that is unattainable, but it's rare. It's not so common. Yes, it's happening more than it used to be before, but everything that's happening there, and everything that I'm hearing lately, especially, it's like I'm healing this. I'm basically, the man is so abusive to somebody, they're beating them up or something like that. That's not twin flame relationship, for peace sake. When somebody's so abusive, and it's so this is why I needed to make this video, because I've heard so many. Oh my God! I tried to say something regarding this, but then I get attacked because people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want this bubble of theirs to be that. And I can understand it, because I was like that. No. This person is perfect. I love it, but this person is actually not respecting me a whole lot, and I just couldn't, because it's hurtful. It hurts. It hurts your heart, especially if you have a tender and soft heart. So it hurts you. And it's hard, to say to yourself that it shouldn't be, because basically not everybody is equipped for love. But we are so fragmented that we're not equipped for love. Some people can't handle love, don't know how to love. They're not capable of doing it. And even if they are, the way they are doing it, it's not healthy. And if you need something that is healthy, if you've been abused all your life, and you need this amount of love that's going to be healing you, and love always heals. Divine love always heals, but yes, it's going to be bringing out a whole lot of things. And if this other cannot handle and won't work on themselves to heal this love wounds in themselves, then it's going to be painful for both of you. So basically, that's all that I'm saying. That's all that I'm saying. So divine masculines need to become aware of this because it's going to be bringing up a whole lot in them too. There are men who are very loving, and I've had clients, and I had a client like that who came for a session because he only wanted this one person, and he was ready to wait for her for as long as it took, and they lived together until she was ready to be in a romantic relationship, an intimate relationship with him. He didn't have anybody else, but it was painful for him. So he came for a session, and after that, it was like with a magic wand. When the block was removed, it was like with a magic wand. They're in a for all I know, harmonious relationship, but they are in a relationship that he wanted it, and now. But there are men who are capable for this and to be this container for their feminines. I'm not saying that they are not, but I can speak from my experience. I was speaking from my experience, and most men, especially of the older generation, are like this. And especially if they had more abuse and difficulties in their lives, they will be having and bad experiences with women and relationships. They will also be feeling this kind of keeping you at a distance. I'm not necessarily, they might not be manipulative or anything, but they would be keeping you in a distance and would be more untrustworthy. If you have had a lot of pain and you don't trust in love, and you don't trust love anymore, and you don't trust your significant other, you don't trust men that's going to be coming into your life, your twin flame will be exactly the same, and we will have the same wound. So you'll both be like, the dynamic might be different, but energetically you will both be holding a wall around yourself. So that's going to be requiring a little bit of more work on you and healing. So just become aware of that. That's all that's needed. And there are other stuff that I could be mentioning now. When one is in a committed relationship, and the other one, that's it's not the topic now. It's going to be taking us into another direction, but it's not something that it all comes when it becomes conscious, and when you are ready to work on yourself and ready to communicate and discuss, and when you have a conscious relationship, those things they don't become an obstacle. They become like like you have a glove and that fits perfectly for your hand, like a key and a lock. So yeah, I hope this helps, and I hope it's been valuable for you, and thank you for listening to my lessons and paying attention and being this patient with me. Much love.